What's that?
Is it maybe the second test?
Oh, yeah, the second test. That's right, you guys have that coming up too. Okay, so let's get this chapter behind us, shall we?
Please.
Okay. Hopefully you're not gonna feel the same way about chapter 7. But anyway, all right, so business use of home. This is normally thought of as the home office deduction. So when an individual uses their home as their office, they may have the opportunity to deduct some of those personal expenses as business expenses. Now, there are qualifications for this, and they're pretty specific, and the IRS is pretty clear about who can use this and who can't use it. And this particular deduction is denied quite frequently because the qualifications really aren't met in a lot of cases. So we'll go through what those qualifications are here. But you can kind of picture what we're talking about here. If you've got a house and say you've got a 3-bedroom house, and instead of using that 3rd bedroom as a bedroom, you work from home and you use it as your office. Again, this is only for self-employed individuals, not for W-2 employees. W-2 employees used to be able to deduct this, but they cannot anymore. But if you are self-employed and you use that space as your office, if it qualifies, then you can deduct the expenses related to that space. And these are expenses like mortgage interest, property taxes, certain utilities, repairs that are done on that space. Anything that you would normally, any type of expense that you would normally incur if you were at like another type of office, you could deduct. And even though it's part of your personal residence. But like I said, there are certain qualifiers. So the use has to be, the business use of the space has to be exclusive, regular, and for the taxpayer's trade or business. Okay, so the last one we can assume that that's the case here. It's for our trade or business. But the use has to be exclusive and regular. That is a very difficult hurdle to overcome. Exclusives means just that. It is only used for business. So if it's an extra bedroom and you use it 95% of the time for your office, but there is a bed in there, and grandma comes to visit, and when grandma comes to visit, she stays in that bedroom, now it's not exclusive use anymore. Okay? So, and that means that it's disqualified completely from the space. So the space does have to be only used for business. It does not have to be an enclosed space, like an entire room. It could be a partition, a part of the room. It could be partitioned off, but anything that can, that the taxpayer can do to clearly delineate that space is helpful. So, for example, you work from home, but you sit at the dining room table and do your work on your laptop from home. Well, you also happen to eat at the dining room table. That means that space is not exclusive, that it's no longer exclusive. It also has to be regular. So you do it on, and regular could be, I work there 5 hours a week. But it's regularly 5 hours a week, roughly. But if you're only working there some of the time, and then elsewhere the rest of the time, that would not qualify then for regular. So it does have to be regular and exclusive. And like I said, a lot of people, it's very easy for taxpayers to knock themselves out of contention for this particular deduction because that use is not regular or exclusive, okay? Again, they say exclusive use test is satisfied if a specific area of the home is used for the trade or business. Now they say a separate room here, but I know that there are tax court cases out there that have actually said that it does not have to be an exclusively separate room, but it does have to be, it has to be distinguishable, right? So let's see. Oh, also, so the home has to be the principal place of business, or a place where the taxpayer meets with patients, clients, or customers. So if you have another office, so you've got an office at home, but then you also have an office, like my example that I said, I think I mentioned that I had a client once who was a counselor. I think it was in this class. I had a client once who was a mental health counselor, and she had a home in her office, and she had an office where she met with clients. She did all of her paperwork and everything at home, so all of her billing and all of that stuff, and she actually spent more time at home than she spent in her office with clients. Like, she met with them a couple days a week. The rest of the time she was at her home. That meant that her home was her principal place of business. Now, if she also met with clients, that would also qualify for that principal place of business. So it has to be one or the other. Either it could be both, but it either has to be the principal place of business or where the taxpayer meets with patients, clients, or customers. Because not every business has clients and customers that they meet with, right? So let's see. Regular use test, taxpayer must use the home office on a continuing basis, not just occasionally or incidentally. All right, so here we've got an example. Rob is a self-employed independent insurance agent, works exclusively from 2 rooms in his home. He rarely meets with clients at his home because most of his client contact occurs over the phone or at the client's home or office. Even though most of his contact is not in his home, all of his administrative work is completed in the home office. Therefore, the 2 rooms would qualify as a home office as long as they're also used exclusively for his business, right? Which is kind of, and they put that in there to deter fraud, obviously, from people using just a room and claiming something that would otherwise be a personal deduction and claiming let me just finish up real quick. And claiming a business deduction for something which should otherwise be personal. There's a little bit of a difference between home office and if you were to rent a space, obviously, if you're renting a space, you still sometimes personal stuff happens there, and there's not a whole lot of concern with that. But the home office is a special case because of the fraud that does go along with it. Let's see. We will talk about. So there's a specific form that is used when there is a home office and how we calculate that deduction. But I'm going to let Jacob here talk to you first a little bit about UNI. Are you good, Jacob?
Yep. Yes.
All right. No, that's okay.